So I guess this video is incredibly long overdue because it's not only just going to be on what Season 4 holds for Leblanc, it's generally what I feel about the change of Leblanc in general. Let it be said that I still really love this champion, I just don't approve of what they've done to her. Oh, how I miss playing this champion. Right. Back when I started playing this game, right, they're going to go on the story. This item, which we shall call DFG. Oh my god, what the fuck, no. Oh god. DFG. This thing, right, used to deal, what was it? I think it used to deal 35% of the person's health, and it had an AP ratio of 2.5% of their health per 100 AP you had. Yeah, this item used to have an AP ratio, and it used to deal more maximum health damage anyway. And back then, believe it or not, it was not considered overpowered. Nobody built it. It was actually nerfed to 20% of their current health, and it had an AP ratio, before people realized, oh my god, this thing is completely bullshit. Let's all build it on things like, I don't know, everybody. And then realized that we have to put a stop to this. It's retarded. And now they've nerfed it again. The initial nerf they put to it really was one of the first nails in the coffin for LB. That small change in damage literally meant she could not distort in DFG QR someone. You could argue that that is completely retarded, but on the other hand, as I've argued many times, what is the alternative? And this will come again later. Right? The changes to LeBlanc were her CC was reduced in a way, right? Silence reduced. You can no longer do what I consider to be a majestic 6-second silence, but that was considered overpowered. It was mentioned, like, I should feel quite proud of the fact that they mentioned, oh, 6-second silencing somebody is completely not the point. As far as I'm aware, I was probably one of the first people to discover it, one of the first to actually execute the stupid thing, and more to the point, it wasn't done because it wasn't viable to do in a game, right? In order to 6-second silence, is this even on, oh my god, why have I even got this here? In order to 6-second silence somebody, they had to literally take it to the face and be completely fucking retarded. So I don't know why I put that there. Okay, technically, being silenced for 2 seconds, 4 seconds, it wasn't good in lane. What was wrong with her exactly? She was always in that niche of early game suppression, kill someone, get to the late game, you're fucked. Right. Like, I changed that by saying, good, let's do a good late game, let's do a good early game, good mid game, and we can also have a reasonable late game. They just said, fuck that shit. This guy knows too much. The problems I have with this new kit are quite fundamental. Like, they changed it so that Sigil Sign's total damage is reduced. Fine. That's obviously a nerf. 2, they changed it so that it was more balanced. The first mark and its detonation are now equal. The problem comes is that LeBlanc is not Cassidon. You cannot just fire a nuke and expect no retaliation. That was why Cassidon was nerfed on the floor. I'm thankful for that. I've said that many times, but I still hate the fucker. Therefore, deal with it. If you decide to harass someone, right, the range 700 isn't actually as high as people assume it is. You harass somebody, you open yourself up for retaliation. It is that simple. Except in this instance, right, they reduce the mana cost so you can Q spam more. Unfortunately, every time you wish to harass somebody, they can harass you back. And you needed to Q spam people before because you need to put them in the bursting range. You could not 100-0 people without any sort of advantage as LeBlanc, assuming they weren't retarded. That was how it was. You had to Q them once or twice, make them uncomfortable, 70-80% range. Yeah, doable. Unfortunately now, if you Q spam somebody, it does fucking no damage. It's why I briefly excommunicated German HDR for even daring to play the thing, but as he realized, as I played my beloved cross-dressing wolf, Did I just say beloved cross-dressing wolf? Oh my god, I'm never gonna live that down. It does nothing. It literally does nothing. Arguably, she does more damage at levels 1 to 3, same damage level 5. But that's not the point. Other crucial problems I have with the changes were the change that it takes 1.5 seconds to root someone, right? They changed it so that early on it roots 1.5 seconds flat. No rank up from 1 to 2 seconds. Only problem was, because they've changed it to be 1.5 second leash for time, as opposed to 2, you could no longer as easily execute a double Q combination. It just robbed her of her power early on, as like all these complicated things that I came up with and investigated, they decided, too complicated, don't want to know, let's make this noob fucking friendly. It's exactly the same with the mirror image and the distortion change that I said before. It was nice that they made it that, you know, you could distort either one so people wouldn't press the wrong fucking button. It was basically noob friendly. And now change the mirror image so that, oh, it moves by itself. It's noob friendly. It's sort of, we have these complex characters, we don't want to be complex anymore, blah, blah, blah. I'm going on a tangent. There is one upside to this that I can think of, right? And that is the fact that if you were to QR somebody, in the past, if you QR someone, because of the damage by itself, it was almost enough to kill somebody. Now, if you QRE someone, it's just, well, dodgy, right? If you were to EQR somebody, however, because the activation time is much less, the amount of danger you're exposed to is theoretically lower. Because you didn't have to spend as much time within range before the second sigil proc, therefore you get out of dodge faster. Problem is, when you tower dive somebody, you QR, then you just aim E anyway, just fire it off as to where they're going to go. If it hits, it hits, they die regardless. If it doesn't hit, well, you're stuffed. You do not have enough time to dive into somebody, E them first, and then QR them in most situations. It is especially true during team fights, where, if you don't see my videos, literally hang around the side, find an opportunity, and do my combination of literally pressing 3 things, right? The hardest parts were positioning and timing. Now, it was the same reason I couldn't throw off ethereal chains then, because they reacted to the point where, yeah, believe it or not, the enemy team has reactions. You don't have the time to stick around. You do not have the time to stick around and press DFG, E, Q, R. You don't. They will murder you in that time. Unless, again, they're retarded. This is why I think it's a freaking nerf. I know they increased the AP ratio on Mimic. It used to be at maximum rank, it would be, what? I mean, they changed to 65% both parts. They've increased the ratio of Mimic, whilst also, like, reducing the sigil, per se. It just means you're more reliant on detonating that second mark of your Mimic because it does more damage. The problem was, even before these changes, it was close to fucking impossible to detonate that out of lading phase. Because you would just die. If you want to play Leblanc as Suicide Mage, by all means, I guess it works. To my taste, where you don't have enough time. I don't know how much more I can express this. In these 10 situations where you only have a few seconds, your window is small enough as it is. You have to execute everything. And now they want you to proc the second mark of this. In a way, I understand why they did it, right? It's more rewarding. Like, can people just jump over and blow you up? There's no fucking counterplay. Apart from my mystical buy a ward or buy a ma, or not be fucking retarded, as people have seen in my videos, when people just position themselves correctly. They know where you are. They position themselves correctly, therefore they're not as vulnerable to you. That is how it was. I still to this day think that LeBlanc is completely in a terrible spot. What else did they do? They buffed Distortion because the cooldown was from when it launched as opposed to when it ended, which is good. That was the only really positive thing I can find. So I'm wondering, is LeBlanc now a fucking control mage who needs CDR? I mean, it sort of points to that direction because DFG now has cooldown reduction. Unfortunately, LeBlanc's ratio still suggests she is still the must blow someone up at all fucking costs. And if you play LeBlanc as CDR, it's sort of, well, you control them, okay, then just play her as fucking support then, I guess. I mean, Ethereal Chains, right, it actually supports it because the Ethereal Chains now has flat 1.5 second root regardless of rank. It wasn't as if I'm playing support LeBlanc, I would max chains because no. Everything, all the CC is now flat. So you can probably get away with playing LeBlanc as support, believe it or not. I freaking refuse to because I do not want to see my beloved champion reduced to such. Well, on the one side I say reduced to the raw support. On the other video I know I said sports are fucking out of control and nuking everyone. So I don't know. We shall see. My god, so much pent-up frustration. Anyway, what has the defensive master tree got for LeBlanc? Strangely enough, a lot of good things. Right. The double-edged sword is probably, on LeBlanc, the one champion who I'd probably say this is actually acceptable. You do not want to be hit. You are unlikely to be hit because of your positioning and how I play her. It's fine. But that's like 1 point. The rest of this is just brute, like, power. Magic penetration, more damage, more damage, more damage, 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 more damage. Yes. Especially this, right? It adds up to a significant amount of damage. The only problem is I have the problem with her kit. I don't think the Masteries are enough to cover for the weaknesses that have been exposed in her kit. She was never a popular champion to begin with. She was never overpowered to begin with, unless you were, I don't know, on the trauma region of pre-30 or in Bronze League or some other bullshit. Oh no, let's look at that. I have played on teams where people did not know how to deal with LeBlanc. It's literally ward. And she can't gank you, she falls behind. Nowadays, she's just worse. Well, I know people have pointed to when, what was it? There was a LeBlanc versus Ziggs matchup, and the guy died at level 3. He's like, oh my god, LeBlanc's overpowered. Unfortunately, there were no team fights, which would probably demonstrate a point where she was fucking useless in those. It not demonstrate anything that basically the rest of the things won anyway. Basically, it was just a whole team collapse as opposed to LeBlanc was OP, she murdered everything. I mean, props to him for daring to play the champion, but still. Early 1 to 3, fine. Up to 5, probably the same, actually probably stronger because of ethereal chains. I don't like the fact that she doesn't seem to really have much of a place outside of... Oh my god, I don't know. Is it just me being too sentimental about the fact I did discover a way of playing her reasonable in the late game, actually blowing somebody up and getting away with it. And now I said, that's overpowered. You could say I'm just too sore about it. Technically, I suppose someone could convince me to try this champion again and just reinvert. It's like, I invested so much time in the freaking Bible. Part of me just, I don't want to have to freaking do it again. And yet it might seem that I have to because nobody else has bothered to look up how to play this thing. Like, if I don't look up how to play this champion for other people, I guess nobody fucking will. Oh, also this now costs no mana, which I guess helps, but she was never really one to have mana issues anyway, as far as I'm aware. I don't know. It sort of suggests... I know. I'm reasoning through this, and it's not as bad as it looks. On the other hand, due to my playstyle, it is far worse than it looks. I don't know how to make any sense. People already know that I did not like the changes. I'm basically expressing why I don't like the changes. Arguably, if we now... Okay, we'll now move on to Season 4. What this does for LeBlanc, technically, with the reduction in the wards available, I mean, you're going to place, what? 3 at a time, as opposed to warding everywhere. It's everybody's job. Fine. Does that help in a way? Yes and no. Because it means that the people on your team have a much reduced chance of knowing where their wards are through simply them having a ward there. right? It works both ways. Your team has less vision, therefore you don't know where their vision is. They have less vision, it's now a fucking guessing game. And as far as I'm aware, Riot doesn't like luck. It's why they removed dodge. Arguably critical strike is still there, but let's not move into that. Apparently there's an actual algorithm to make it all balance out. Season 4. Offensive Mastery Tree definitely suits her much better. Defensive Tree, don't even fucking go there. Utility Tree, pretty much the same, really. This is now always the case, which is good. Ignite, good. This is all you always needed, and a bit of mana regeneration if you needed it. Item-wise, I don't think anything has actually fucking changed. It's still DFG, it's still buy as much AP as you can, and hope you kill someone, or else it's a 4v5. And that is the problem, right? If it gets to a teamfight status, I still believe LeBlanc is still completely... Well, not completely. It's generally the worst that she could possibly be in Season 4 right now. Early game, arguably stronger. Mid game, debatable. By the time you get to late game, I don't see how she can blow somebody up. It is too reliant on this second... Oh my god, where is it? On the second mark being... On the Mimic being exploded. And I've shown many times how that is just not viable. Right? And if you don't understand why, it's the AD carry, assuming it's not retarded, will be positioned in a way that means you can't get to them, or you need janky positioning to get there, right? You might miss your window. You assume that they have no vision, so they can't see you, right? As I showed in my replays, they had vision, therefore they avoided me at all costs. I couldn't get to them. 2, when it's a fucking clusterfuck that is a team fight, you assume you're going to have a clear shot at the ADC, right? It is not always the case. It's why I did DFGQR at all fucking costs, because you could just click. You would just click, it did not matter. You will not be able to... How do you expect, basically, to trigger the second part of Sigil? Distort onto them? If they're retarded, sure. But actually you need distortion to position correctly. That leaves ethereal chains, and it's like... even the support gets in the fucking way. You're ruined! If this video has one thing that I wish to express, is that okay, they buff Mimic, the second part of Mimic. How do you ever expect to reasonably and consistently detonate that in a team fight on the priority target is beyond me. This is why I argue perhaps LeBlanc is not relegated to the fucking support role, because at least you know that someone's going to be diving on ADC all the time. You can easily detonate the second part of it. It makes no problem. This is why I wanted to avoid doing this video, because I can just feel the rage boiling right now. I know the guide is hideously outdated, but I don't know what to do about it. I have no real change in build. I've changed the Masteries because it just made sense, but with regards to actual what to do with her, I don't know. I have not played any games with her, because just due to the way they changed the kit and the difficulty she had before the changes and before the new season, I knew that it was a foregone conclusion as to what was happening. I honestly do not regard LeBlanc as being overly viable right now, but I honestly hope someone proves me wrong. And that concludes part 3.